Hello, this is the Watchdog, and welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches weren't fun, you'd only need one. Today we're going to review the Benyar BY5194M. Let's start out with the wrist check. I'm wearing this Thorn SHY028, homage to a Tudor Black Bay 58. And also, this thing has double-headed screw pins, and boy was this a nightmare to adjust. And Grogo is wearing my Long Bay 1352. Grogo flew to Hawaii and flew first class because he heard they gave you all-you-can-eat frog eggs. He told me he got to sit next to his favorite actor, Mark Hamill. I said, Mark Hamill, what did he play in? He said he played David on the 8 Is Enough pilot, Private Griff in The Big Red One, and Ken in Corvette Summer. I said, can you think of anything else he played in? Something a bit more famous? He said, oh yeah, Conrad in The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia. Alright, let's open up this watch. It comes in this typical Benyar box with the unsigned warranty card and the cleaning cloth that looks just like Pagani Design cleaning cloths, but it says Benyar. Really good quality though. And it came with a Benyar hang tag to make sure you know it's a real Benyar. And it also came with a sizing tool. This is not a screwdriver because you're not going to get screw pins in a Benyar, but this is a push thing. And it's a nice one because it's got the plastic handle. And here's the watch. Pretty good looking watch for a Benyar, I'd say. This is the first Benyar on my channel in over a year. I used to do lots of Benyars when I first started my channel. Then after a while I went through most of the Benyars I cared about and they didn't seem to be offering up anything new. Then I saw this 5194 2-register chronograph and saw that it looked pretty good and had a Speedmaster style 5-leak bracelet, so I decided to give Benyar another go. Benyars are a step below Pagani Design, and much to the dismay of many reviewers, they all feature chrome-plated alloy cases, despite the fact that the case back in the AliExpress ads say all stainless steel. Because of this, the I Like Watches guy will not review Benyars. I figure it is better for me to review them and let you know that it isn't stainless steel. Plus, not all chrome-plated alloy cases are created equal, and at least this is a decent one. There are 3 different colorways. Besides this gray, there is also black and a black and blue gradient dial that kind of looks like the dial of a James Cameron Deep Sea. There's also a rubber strap option with fitted ends, but it isn't any cheaper, so I don't know why you'd get rubber unless you just don't like steel bracelets. The watch is 41.5 millimeters at the bezel, 49.6 millimeters lug to lug with inverted end links, 14.2 millimeters thick, including the dome crystal, has a 20 millimeter lug width, and weighs 130 grams on the supply bracelet with 2 links removed. The bezel is, well, I guess a chrome-plated alloy with an aluminum insert, and it has a tachymeter on the bezel. And normally I complain about tachymeters on the bezel if it has a small second chronograph hand, but look at this. This has a large second chronograph hand, so the tachymeter is actually useful. Not that you'll ever use it, but if you wanted to use it, you could. But there are no sub-seconds, so it's not going to be super precise. Then we have a gray dial with a nice sunburst effect. This is a very nice looking dial for a Benyar. I like it. And then we have the Benyar name and logo just printed up top. And then on the bottom it says Water 5 ATM Chronograph. Then we have applied baton indices. Well, I guess they're not really batons. They got little curved ends. And then we got the double dots at the 12. Then the hands, we just got your basic fence post hands, but they are loomed. And then the chronograph hand has a spear tip, and that spear tip is loomed. Then we have a date at the 6. I really like the date at the 6. I'm glad they did that. And then we have the 2 subdials. We have a 24-hour indicator on the right. I really wish it was a running second hand instead. I don't really need a 24-hour indicator. And on the left is the chronograph minute counter. And it's a 60-minute, not a 30-minute. We have an unsigned push-pull crown. You're not going to get screwed down for a 50-meter watch. And then we also have the 2 pushers, and they're not screw down either. And at least it doesn't have the fake screw down knurls like a lot of them do. And then the crown action is not all loosey-goosey. Let's see if we can press it in without a minute hand jump. Yeah, we can press it in without a minute hand jump, so that's always nice on a cheap quartz watch. And then we have the crystal. It's dome mineral glass. You're not going to get sapphire on a Benyar. But it's a nice crystal. It looks nice, does a good job. I would rate that pretty good crystal for a glass. And then we have the case. As I mentioned before, this is a chrome-plated alloy, even though the case back in the ad says steel. That just seems to be something Benyar does. It's kind of like an abusive relationship where you just get used to it. So rather than calling it a deal breaker, I just live with the fact that they call their chrome-plated alloy cases steel. Then we have a screw-down case back. There it is. Says Benyar, gives the model number. Then it says all solid stainless steel, which of course is a lie. And then it says water resistance 50 meters. So that's better than 30. I think that the fact that it has a screw down is why I was able to get 50. It didn't say what movement was in the watch in the ad, so I popped the case back. Well, didn't pop it, unscrewed it, because this is indeed a screw down case back. And as you can see, it's a Sunan PE70. I'm assuming Sunan is Chinese. If it was Japanese, they would brag about it. Then we have the star of the show, which is the bracelet. This is a very nice bracelet. It's solid steel, and it's a true 5-link and fully articulating. Look at that. Fully articulating. Then it has solid end links, and they're inverted end links, so you get a really good fit. Now, one thing though, there seems to be quite a bit of gap between with the end links, but I'd rather have the inverted and a gap than protruding and no gap. And then this being a Benyar, we have push pins, not screw pins. I'm perfectly fine with push pins. I think they're just easier, especially after fighting with that thorn and its double-headed screw pins. And then we have the clasp. You buy a Benyar on a steel bracelet, and this is the clasp you're going to get. It's the only one they ever seem to make for their steel watches, and it's a fine clasp. The trouble is there's just no micro adjust. So I just wish it was a bigger clasp just because of the micro adjust thing. Now this one, the links aren't too big, so you should be able to get a good fit, but there are no half links. So, of course, if you like this watch, you could always go buy yourself an aftermarket clasp. Let's see how big you'll need. 18 millimeters. Here's the watch on my 7.5-inch wrist. I think that looks really nice. It wears nice. Nice and flat. Good wrist roll. That's a really nice looking bracelet. So yeah, this is a good looking watch. Well, I guess I should stop the chronograph, huh? Here we are in the loom room. You're just not going to get good loom with a Benyar. That's just a given. But let's go ahead and test it anyway. As we speed up the time, we see that everything fades really quickly. This is not good loom at all. I would even rate it as so-so. This is just bad loom. What do I like about this watch? Well, I really like the looks and the wearability. I think they did a good job with that. I like the fact that it has a big chronograph hand and not a little one. And I really like this fully articulating 5-link bracelet. What are my gripes and groans? No running second hand. Pretty big gap where the bracelet meets the end links. No micro adjust on the clasp. And your typical Benyar complaint. The case back says all solid stainless steel when this is really a chrome plated alloy. Do I recommend this watch? Sure, I think this watch is pretty good for the money. I like it. And I've enjoyed my time wearing it. And if you want a 2-register chronograph that looks nice and wears nice and doesn't cost a lot of money, then this would be a welcome addition to your collection. Well, thank you for watching my review of the Benyar BY5194M, and I will be back with another unboxing. I have a watch coming from AliExpress today, and I got another watch that just arrived from Amazon. Oh no, I bought a watch at the big Amazon sale. Be sure and like and subscribe to my channel. Bye.